Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire.
Good morning, Heat Seekers. It is week 11. I can't believe it, man. We only got this week and 2 more in the regular season for fantasy for most leagues, and that is just bonkers to me. It seems like we just started this Sunday morning trek just a couple weeks ago, and here we are, week 11. Bryce, how's your season going so far overall, just in a vacuum?
Pretty good. I'm in quite a few leagues, and I think all the leagues that I actually care about and are for a decent amount of money, I'm projected to make the playoffs, and then there's just one your league that I'm in kind of that gray area where these next 3 weeks are going to really set the tone for if I can make it or not.
Yeah,
how about you?
I've got a bunch. So some of it's good, some of it's bad. Little bit of everything in between too. So, real excited to get these last 3 weeks under the belt and see where I'm at going into the playoffs, because fantasy's great. You get into the playoffs, you just never know what's going to happen. You have the right player blow up for a couple weeks, you can be that 6th seed that sneaks in. My 0-6 team, the league that you were talking about, is now 4-6 and 1 game out of a playoff race. So have an opportunity to flip that around, and real excited about that, because that would be the literally best turnaround I've ever had in a season. I mean, I thought I was dead in the water, and everything's played out pretty well after starting out very unlucky. Because I think I was 0-6, but like the 5th highest scorer in the league or something at that point.
Right.
So that's pretty fun. These guys are popping off with the questions already. We got somebody over on Facebook that says, "Good morning, fellas. I need 2 in a PPR format. I have Ronald Jones, CEH, and Zeke. Which 2 am I starting?"
Zeke, for sure. And then
It's got to be Ronald Jones.
Even with the rough matchup?
Ronald Jones is getting the touches. And we've said that a lot. And everybody knows I'm not a Ronald Jones fan. But when you're getting the touches, it turns into points. And it could be a dud. But CEH hasn't had more than 10 touches since Le'Veon Bell showed up. And, that offense isn't – and it's not like Bell's getting a ton. But it's like in 3 games, it's like 26-20. CEH just barely out-touching him there. So he's just not giving you the volume that you paid for. And right now, I think a lot of people are just starting him on name recognition and draft capital, right? A lot of people in redraft took him as a first-round pick.
Right.
In Dynasty, he moved up to, late first, early second, or the number 1 overall in rookie draft. So people are still hanging on to that. It's not that he's not the best back. He might be the best back at this point out of the 3 of these guys, but he's the one not getting as many touches. And we said it last week, which Ronald Jones had the juicy matchup last week with Carolina, and we wish our running backs could go against Carolina every week, but he's the one getting the majority of the touches there in Tampa Bay. That offense is good. There's touchdown upside. I just think you got to go with Zeke and Jones because of the amount of touches they're going to get, right? They're probably going to combine for 45 probably, touches. But you always run the risk, right? He fumbled on the first or second play of the game last week, and I know you were sitting there because you were real high on Leonard Fournette last week, and you were going, man, Leonard Fournette, take over. And it just didn't happen. So, this is one of them ones where you have to concede even if you don't like the talent if they're getting the touches. Same thing with Balaj in Los Angeles, right? Balaj was literally one of the worst running backs last year historically. Not just last year, but historically one of the worst running backs. And right now he's in LA. He's getting all the touches. And he's producing. So whether we like him or not, we have to concede that he is a start right now. Rob Kane says, "What's up?" And our boy Craig says, "Hey, sexy studs." And now my confidence is through the roof. I'm ready to answer all these questions. Would you play Antonio Brown or Adrian Peterson in full PPR?
Antonio Brown.
Yeah, we're just talking about that juicy matchup versus Carolina. And Adrian Peterson has been getting touches with Swift healthy. With him out, it's kind of hard for me to go against Peterson. I might have to go with Peterson here. So we're a little split on that one. And then he says Zeke or Antonio Gibson, full PPR.
Zeke.
I got to go with Zeke. Also, McKissick's. I wish Antonio Gibson was getting all of what McKissick was getting.
Right.
If he was getting the 9-10 targets per game plus the carries, then I would like it. There is some touchdown upside in this game, but it's still Zeke. We can hope Dalton coming back to this offense gets them on track a little bit, but I have to think Zeke's going to be better than he's been the past few weeks. MathQuest says, "Good morning, Eat Seekers. I'm heavy underdog this week. Pick 2 wide receivers from Mike Williams, Curtis Samuel, Antonio Brown, Michael Pittman Jr."
Should pick 2 out of Antonio Brown, Michael Pittman Jr.
Curtis Samuel, Mike Williams. I like Curtis Samuel a lot this week. Let's see, is Zaire Alexander playing? It looks like he's returning. I'm probably going with, man. I like 3 of the 4. I don't really like Pittman with Alexander coming back. With that group, Mike Williams has huge potential in this game versus the Jets. I probably go with him and Samuel for ceiling, right? I don't know if Antonio Brown has the same ceiling as them, and since he's a heavy underdog, I'm looking for the guys that can put up a 25 bomb. Not that Antonio Brown can't, but it's just with Godwin and Evans, a little less likely.
Yeah, I'm gonna start Antonio Brown over Mike Williams. I do like Curtis Samuel, like you said, especially if Teddy Bridgewater is playing. I just think after the 2 weeks that Antonio Brown's played, he got 5 targets, and then week 2 he got 8. So I just like the amount of targets. But again, it is, to your point, it is more of a safer floor play. If you are looking for ceiling, I could definitely understand if you want to put in Mike Williams instead.
Evan says, "Hey, fellas, love the content. Got a bit of a dilemma on a few questions today. Are we starting Gibson, CEH, or Ahmed? Also, are we rolling with Jacoby Myers or Justin Jefferson? Already have DK and Calvin Ridley. Thanks, guys." I do like Myers, but if you're only starting 3 of those guys, then I'm starting Justin Jefferson. Out of those 2. When it comes to Gibson, CH, and Ahmed and Gibson are getting the touches. We already talked about CH a little bit, but I'm probably starting Gibson out of that 3.
Yep, Gibson and Jefferson. Jacoby is exciting, but even as a Pats fan, I can't start him over Justin Jefferson. Not right now, at least.
Gianni Medaglia, hopefully I said that right, says Pittman or Crowder in PPR.
I'm going Crowder.
I am going Crowder as well, but it is, with Flacco playing, it is a lot tougher. Crowder only got 2 targets. When you talk about quarterbacks this week that are playing, Joe Flacco has the highest intended air yards per pass, over 10 yards. He doesn't check it down like Darnold does. So
Right.
Crowder only got 2 targets last game, which we're not used to seeing out of Crowder. Guys like Mims and Pittman or Perriman get a bump with him, but I still got to go Crowder. We talked about that matchup with Pittman. That's not passing the ball is not how you're beating the Packers. Now, if they get garbage time, then you know that might help Pittman a little bit. But I think it's going to be a competitive game with the Colts and the Packers, and it may actually be the Colts on top there. So Pittman's a little scary this week. Rob Kane says J.D. McKissick or Thielen in the flex full PPR. I gotta go with Thielen because he's got a floor and a huge ceiling. McKissick just doesn't have the touchdown upside. He's got the I'm gonna get you probably 10 points in the receiving game, but who knows what else I'm gonna get you. He might get 3 carries for 4 yards or something. Speaking of Carolina defense, which Detroit back are you rolling with, AP or Carry-On? If I can avoid it, I'm not playing either because we don't know how they're going to be used. Carry-On's only been getting a few touches a week, and AP's been getting a bunch of carries, and he's had some receptions too. There's a case for both of them, and I honestly don't know which one to roll with. When you look at like DraftKings, if you're playing on DraftKings, they're both the same price, so that doesn't help any. You can't get that price separator. If AP was 5,000 and Carry-On was 4,000, then it's Carry-On or vice versa. I'm trying not to play them in season long if I don't have to. Do you have any thoughts on that backfield and where you're going to go there?
Yeah, I agree. If you can stay away, stay away. But if I had to choose one of them, I'm going to go with Adrian Peterson. He's just been getting the touches even when they're all healthy, and he honestly does not look. He doesn't look like the best back there, but he doesn't look bad. So,
Grant on YouTube says, "Who should I start, Mike Evans or Justin Jefferson?" I'm starting Justin Jefferson.
I'm going to start Justin Jefferson. Yeah, Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson for sure. For one, that offense is so consolidated, right? The run game runs through Dalvin Cook, and the pass game runs through Jefferson and Thielen. So you can narrow that down. Whereas in Tampa Bay, Mike Evans could have 3 catches for 3 yards for 3 touchdowns, and that's fun. But I like a guy that can get there in multiple ways. But Evans also has Antonio Brown, Chris Godwin, Ronald Jones right now, Gronk with 44-yard receptions and shit. Like that guy's looking like he's back to normal. Not prime, but back to normal. Not the guy that looked like he was 80 running routes the first few weeks of the season. Latavius Murray or Jamal Williams?
I'm going with Latavius Murray.
I'm going with Jamal Williams.
You don't think New Orleans kind of goes to the run game for this?
I mean, they always kind of go to the run game. It's just
right.
I don't know. I don't know what happens there, but I know Jamal Williams gets more touches from Aaron Jones than he should, which is frustrating. But he's definitely in that passing attack. And I think that's how you're going to have a hard time running against the Colts, and you're going to have to throw the ball to your running backs against them. And I think that's going to be a big part of their game today. I think Aaron Jones is going to be fine. I think he's going to have a lot of receptions today.
Yeah.
But the Colts, that defense is legit. Does Taysom Hill starting help or hurt Alvin Kamara and Michael Thomas? I don't know if I would say that it helps them. It may help them it may help Alvin Kamara in regards to Jameis Winston, because Jameis Winston's never been a guy that checks it down, right? Chuck it, Jameis.
Right.
And we don't know if he has turned that corner this season with the Saints. So I don't know if Taysom Hill may be better at that. And everybody's freaking out. Hill's not a quarterback, which we don't know because the guy's only thrown like 12 passes. My thing with this is I'm not saying he's good, but I feel like Sean Payton knows more than we do. And if Sean Payton's willing to put their season in Taysom Hill's hands, then there has to be something there. He feels like he can run the Saints offense. The Saints offense also runs on the shortest passes of any team in the league. And
Right.
they've been down there at the bottom for multiple seasons, like 5 seasons, right around 6 intended air yards per pass, which is super short. So this offense runs on the short pass anyways. They're higher efficiency passes. Is Taysom Hill going to be great? I have no idea, but I don't know that with the way their offense works that either of these guys are hurt by him. If he can throw that, 6 to 8 yard pass, then this offense can flourish just like it always does. Any thoughts there? Because I know there's a lot of opinions on Taysom Hill.
Right. I think, in short, I think it does hurt Michael Thomas a little bit. And I think it kind of keeps Alvin Kamara the same. Because like you said, Jameis does not check it down. But he would get his wide receivers some really good games statistically. So I was looking forward to, as a former Michael Thomas owner, I guess, to seeing Jameis kind of air it out. But I can see this game, them starting to run the offense a little bit, kind of how the Ravens do with Taysom Hill back there, and short passes, and you got 2 good running backs, and now a running quarterback. They could be a little fun team to watch.
The way I see it, and I've kind of likened it to Cam Newton, right? And you're a Patriots fan, and I know at the beginning of the season we kind of had some debates, but Cam Newton just isn't a good passer. No matter how you slice it, right? He'll make some here and there. Every NFL quarterback will, right? Any NFL quarterback can make a great play from here and there.
Absolutely.
But I kind of liken Taysom Hill to him, and Jacoby Myers could be, or Michael Thomas could be that Jacoby Myers player that he's going to get huge volume. So he's going to have value, right? He had, 44% of their air yards last week. Like, it's him and Kamara. They're going to get so much volume that I don't think it matters who the quarterback is. Not just out of these two, but, like, anybody. Everybody thought that their value was going to tank with Bridgewater last year, and, Michael Thomas actually had a couple huge games with Bridgewater. And obviously, I think Bridgewater is way better than people gave him credit for.
Yeah.
They thought he was just a game manager, which is his ADOT's higher this year than it was with the Saints last year. But that's just how the Saints offense runs. They're not, even if Jameis came in there, Sean Payton isn't changing his offense to all of a sudden be a downfield passing offense. And I think that's part of the reason why he went with Hill, was because he just fits closer to what their offense already does. If Breeze was going to be out for good, then they may have went a different way and actually changed that offense for the remainder of the season. But yeah, I don't know. I have no idea what's going to happen. I just feel like Sean Payton knows more than I do because he's the guy every day. Adrian Peterson or Naim Heinz? This one's really easy for me. Where are you going?
Oh, Naim Heinz.
I'm going Adrian Peterson. Naim Heinz does this like literally
really?
2 or 3 times every year, right? Has a huge week and then disappears for 5 weeks. And then has a huge week and then disappears for 5 weeks. I understand it's Green Bay. I don't think this is the guy that gets 15 carries, so that doesn't matter to me very much. And every once in a while, he gets a bunch of targets and scores 2 touchdowns, and everybody freaks out. And then they play him for the next 2 weeks, and he gets like 8 combined points for 2 weeks. I'm going Adrian Peterson, who I know is going to get the touches in another juicy matchup.
I think the Colts have a good chance of playing from behind today, and they don't use any other running back besides Naim Heinz when they're down. That's my reasoning behind it.
I mean, I'm not going to argue with you. I just know Naim Heinz has done this for 3 seasons.
He does, yeah.
You finally think that he's going to get the work, and then disappears. I'm staying away from that Colts backfield whenever possible, just because I never know. I don't know if Wilkins is going to be the guy that gets the most carries, or if it's JT. It's so frustrating. I hate how the NFL is now with like 3 running backs on a lot of teams, 2 running backs on most teams, and just a few teams that have 1. And then you look at those teams, and there's names like James Robinson, and you're like, shit. I don't know if that guy's any good. I need a wide receiver between T. Higgins and Mike Williams, and this is easily T. Higgins for me. I like Mike Williams' matchup, but T. Higgins is just getting volume on a team that throws 50 times. I'll take that. Fournette or Judy in the flex spot, PPR.
Come on, Jerry Judy.
Gotta go Judy. I hate it, but gotta go Judy. And by hate it, I mean I love Jerry Judy, but I'm sick of Fournette not getting touches. Stephen Drakes says, I need 2 and a flex. Hunt, Balazs, James Robinson, or Cup, full PPR. Hunt.
Robinson.
Hunt, and I might go Balazs and Cup. And I understand James Robinson just has that shit matchup versus Pittsburgh. Balazs gets the Jets. And again, we talked about it. Touches. And Balazs is getting it. I think Hunt and Cup are for sure in there, and then it's real close between Balazs and Robinson. If Balazs didn't catch passes too, then I would go with Robinson, who's gonna catch passes in this game, but I just don't know if Lutton can sustain this offense in a game versus Pittsburgh, which ultimately hurts James Robinson if he can't run. So I'm going Hunt, Balazs, and Cup. That's where I'm going.
One Hunt, Robinson, Cup.
Do you guys think that all fantasy platforms should classify Taysom Hill the same way? I don't care how they classify any player, to be completely honest with you. Everybody has the same opportunity when we draft and free agency to pick up these players. And if you don't have the foresight, or if somebody has the foresight and nobody else does, to grab a player that has position eligibility at a position that gives them an advantage if he plays, then that's on you and us personally. Like, I don't have Taysom Hill anywhere that I can play him as a tight end, right? But if our leagues did, that would be my fault for not having him, right? And I'm not going to cry foul now that somebody had the foresight and used a roster spot on him because, hey, if he starts at QB, I might be able to start him at tight end, you know? So that's where it bothers me, is that nobody had a problem with it when he wasn't starting. And then as soon as he starts, everybody wants to say, oh, that shouldn't be allowed. Well, you should have made that clarification at the beginning of the year when you drafted and seen that he was tight end eligible and there was the opportunity. They paid the man a bunch of money. There was always the opportunity that he was going to be the starting quarterback if Breeze got hurt. And Breeze is over 40. if you had an issue with it, you should have made that known, and then your league could have made a decision on it before the week that he gets named the starting quarterback, right? That's my issue with people that are getting a little upset. Now, should he have tight end eligibility? No. I mean, he's the number one tight end play of the week.
Yeah.
Smash him in. But
yeah, your tight end's going to start at quarterback. I'd probably start him too.
Oh, you absolutely start him. If you're not start, if you don't, if you have, you start him and Kelsey if you have Kelsey, right? But other than Kelsey, like, he's undisputed a better option at tight end than anybody else. Mark Andrews, whoever, he's the best start at tight end for the week. And if you're playing on FanDuel, he's tight end eligible on FanDuel. I would literally only play him at tight end. TS says Brady or Matt Ryan.
Brady's got a tough matchup against the Rams. Matt Ryan's also got a tough matchup against the Saints.
I'm going Matt Ryan.
I'm on Matt Ryan.
Hey, look at that. We're on the same page.
I think he always plays well. Yeah, he always plays well against the Saints.
And they throw so damn much. He puts up 300 yards like every game.
Right.
Brady, we've seen kind of hit and miss at times this year, and the Rams defense is legit. It's just time
Very good.
to admit that their defense is legit. Somebody over on Facebook says, "Hey Rick, good news this week. The Bears can't lose." I wish I knew who that was. It just says Facebook user. But I'm over it. It doesn't even hurt me anymore. I'm so numb to it. This shit is annoying, but I'm whatever. Grant says Gronk or Dallas Goedert.
Dallas Goedert. He's got to have a good game.
I want to look more and see where this weather is. Cleveland games. This is the third week in a row that Cleveland games have just been wrecked by weather, right? It's supposed to rain like this entire game.
Is it supposed to be windy again? Oh.
Yeah.
Rain.
I want Dallas Goedert if it looks like really, really bad weather with some wind and some heavy rains throughout the game, then I'll switch to Gronk and take the safe road.
Joe Lindsay made the comment about the Bears.
Oh, Joe Lindsay, he's a Bears fan, so I can take it from him. But man, it's very sad, Joe. It's very sad. Another defense wasted. It pisses me off. Sakin Tobaran over on YouTube says, "Who should I start, Josh Reynolds or Willie Snead?" Josh Reynolds. His usage in the red zone is prime. Willie Snead, he's kind of like Naim Heinz, right? He'll have like 2 big games a year, and then disappears for the other 14. Kyle Rudolph or Robert Tanyan? I'm playing Rudolph this week.
Rudolph, Herb Smith is out, correct?
We'll have to check that. He was out last week, and he got a ton of targets with him out.
I know. He was pretty busy. Let's see, Herb Smith Jr.
He's expected to play, so that changes everything. I'm going with Robert Tanyan.
I am as well.
We got a donation from Stephen Drakes. He says Ahmed or Duke for full PPR.
I'm going with Duke Johnson. Patriots run defense is absolutely horrible, and we're not good at covering the back out of the backfield. Running backs usually do pretty well against us.
I will go Duke as well, but we did see last week how I said it.
Who'd they play?
I said Houston doesn't use their running backs right, and I'm worried that they're not going to use Duke in the passing game, and then the guy gets like 2 targets. How does Duke Johnson get 2 targets when he gets all the reps at running back? It's Watson doesn't like checking it down. We talked about quarterbacks that don't like to check it down. It's real. Dalton Schultz or Noah Fant. And thank you, Stephen Drakes, again for the donation. We appreciate that. If you want to get your question bumped to the top, you got to do what Stephen did. Dalton Schultz or Noah Fant. This is Noah Fant for me as long as he's healthy. He was questionable, right?
Yeah. That's what I'm looking at right now. I've had to keep an eye on that, but I'm going Noah Fant if he is expected to play. Noah Fant.
Yeah, so we went. Okay, where am I at here? Sit one, Rager, Pittman, or Mike Williams. I think we already. The rain could make Rager a sit, right? But Pittman's got Zaire Alexander, and I don't know that Pittman's ready for that yet.
I believe. Then he have Rager might also have not the best matchup against Denzel Ward.
That doesn't scare me as much as Alexander, but I'm sitting Pittman unless that weather's crazy in the Cleveland game. So we got to keep an eye on that. We still got 2.5 hours before game time, so if that weather looks like, them Cleveland games have been wrecked the last 2 weeks, 3 weeks in a row. Cleveland, and they're all matchups like I want to exploit, and then the weather comes in and wrecks it all.
Mm-hmm.
Saeed over on YouTube says, "Who should I start, Julio or Deontay? Derrick Henry or Heinz?"
I'm starting Julio and then
you
Derrick
should start
Henry.
Julio, Deontay, and Derrick Henry. Your team must be super stacked. Derrick Henry is a start, though. Heinz is out of the question, out of those guys. But Julio and Derrick Henry, find a way to get Deontay in there.
We're just
Builder 1K says Heinz or Harris. This one gets a little more tricky for me. I know who you're going with, so just say it.
I have to get it with Damian Harris. I'm on the train. So
I have to go with Harris too because we know he's going to get touches. We don't know that Heinz is going to get touches. That's the biggest issue that I've got with him.
Heinz has been reported by the organization that he is going to get majority of the rushing attempts. But I don't know if that means he's get 6 or 7.
I'll actually believe with either of these players when I see it. But I know Harris is going to get the carries. The problem is Harris could rush for 160 yards and his ceiling 16 points. Because guess what? Cam Newton gets 85% of the rushing attempts inside the 20.
I'd like to see.
And literally, Harris has never got more than one target in a game. So he's never got more than one reception in a game either.
Got to triple that today, too.
I mean, anything's possible. But when you look at history, normally doesn't lie to us. I got to go with Harris, but I don't love it. 0.5 PPR, Dobbins, Harris, Lindsey. Now, see, this is a question. That one earlier with all the studs was like first world problems.
Yeah.
I think Harris has to be in here because we don't know if the other two guys are going to get touches. Harris is the only one that we're comfortable is going to get touches. And at 0.5 PPR, it makes it a lot more palatable. Like that half point like evens it out a lot with guys that don't catch any and guys that full point can really separate guys a lot.
None of those backs really catch the ball either.
I mean, Dobbins should, but they don't use him enough.
Harris going to get touches.
So I'm going with Harris. I think that was Joe Lindsey because I think that's his running backs in the league we're in. If you're playing me, I don't feel like strongly about any of them. So I I got offered Lamar Jackson and Calvin Ridley for Russell Wilson. I'm currently 9-1 in a 10-person league in need of some receivers. Is this a good trade? Absolutely. If you're getting Lamar Jackson and Calvin Ridley for Russell Wilson, you take it.
Holy crap! Yeah, absolutely.
That was for Clutchful over on YouTube. Angelo Preda says, would you start Michael Thomas over Higgins if Hill starts for the Saints? I'm starting Michael Thomas every week for the rest of the season. No matter what wide receivers I have on my team, there's never a time where I'm sitting Michael Thomas.
I agree.
Don't forget that Michael Thomas was literally, last year was one of the best seasons ever, right? And I understand Hill, I understand all that, but the Saints, he doesn't catch passes 20 yards downfield. That's not how they work. He catches a lot of slants, and maybe Hill's not good, but if Hill's not good, then he's not going to be the quarterback for very long, right? They'll just move him back to gadget guy and whatever. Don't worry too much about Hill because it's either he plays well and it doesn't hurt him, or it's short term and then you get Chuck at Jameis, who will throw the ball to the other team some. But somebody made a good point the other day, right? Jameis has been throwing to the Saints for 4 years.
Sure.
But the sad part is that those guys are on the sidelines while he's on the field now.
Correct.
So he doesn't have very good camaraderie with the receivers. If you put them defensive backs at wide receiver, it might do all right. Yeah, but definitely not sitting Michael Thomas ever. Sony Michel's back?
He is active and traveled with the team.
Well, shit.
I don't think it matters, really.
Yeah, it does matter because it's Belichick and it's the Patriots, and there's already Rex Burkhead that gets involved, and White, and that backfield's a mess. I'm not confident that he gets touches now, or gets all of them. He might get 10 carries now, and Sony Michel might get 10.
Sony Michel get like 6 carries for 48 yards, and then they won't give him the ball back. David Harrison
Okay,
like 15.
you just literally made my point. You just made my point for me.
I think Michel gets like around 5, and Harris gets around.
Your
12
point was that
20.
You could do well, and then you don't get any carries for the Patriots. Like, that's what it's been like for years.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I gotta read up on Sony. I knew that there was a possibility that he would come back, but he's been an afterthought for that whole running game. Like, I want to stay away from if I can, especially with Sony back. What the hell? Okay, we talked about teams with 3 running backs. They have 4 now. Good luck. And it's Bill Belichick. Good luck.
I have to start Sony in one of my leagues.
Good freaking luck.
Yep. Yeah, dude.
Lazard or Hamler?
Lazard is back, huh?
I didn't know that either. We should probably know these things on a Sunday morning show.
I was looking at all the. Yeah, okay. Yes.
They both have a bad matchup, right? Lazard gets the Colts, and people don't sleep on them Dolphins. And our IDP guys told us before the season that this secondary was being underestimated, and it's proven so.
They've got legit corners, good safety.
But Hamler's used in such a unique way. But here's the thing. I'm going Lazard because Aaron Rodgers. That's my answer when it comes to those two.
Nobody's really stepped into that real true number. I mean, Valdez-Scantling has these like good plays here and there, and he'll have like a decent game, but he's not consistent. And I don't think Aaron Rodgers likes inconsistency. He drops balls. Where when Lazard was kind of in there and he was starting to take over that number 2 spot, and it was pretty evident, and then he gets injured. So I'm hoping that he comes back and maybe gets to kind of get the opportunity that he was getting right before he
when
got
it
injured.
comes down, like, remove Devontae Adams out of your thought for what I'm going to say, because
Right.
Lazard is more of the possession receiver out of those secondary receivers, right?
Right.
Valdez-Scantling is going to be the deep ball guy, the guy they take shots to. He's
Right.
going to be the the kid from Kansas City that gets like 3 targets, but they're all like freaking
Hardman.
You know, he's the Mecole Hardman of this offense, whereas like when Watkins is healthy, he's the possession receiver outside of Tyreek Hill, right? That's how it goes. It's Adams, and then Lazard will get probably the second most targets, and then Valdez-Scantling will get the deep shots. So I'm going Lazard there. Hamler also has Judy and Fant if they're both healthy, and Tim Patrick. So it's not like he's just the second wide receiver there. Justin Jefferson or T. Higgins, 1 PPR. If I'm starting Cousins, does that change your opinion? It doesn't change my opinion because Justin Jefferson's the guy I'm going to start either way. But I don't mind that QB to wide receiver combo if it's there. I'm just never going to force it.
Yeah. It's either going to be real good for you or real bad. So if your quarterback does bad, obviously, usually your wide receiver does. So that never affects me. I never try and stack in my regular fantasy lineups a QB and wide receiver. That's not important to me.
Craig says sit 1, Jesse Bates, Antone Winfield, or Chuck Clark. I can tell you that I just don't like the name Chuck, and I'm
That's what
I'm not sitting the hometown kid Jesse Bates. So Rod Woodson calls him up every week. They talk, and the Snyder grad is in my lineup. So there you go, Craig. I bet you didn't expect that answer, did you?
Oh, Craig.
I chills for thrills says Duke or Hilaire. What were you saying?
I said that was easy.
Yeah, you always sit Chuck. You chuck right out of your lineup. But I bet you Craig did not expect that coming, did you? I chills for thrills. Duke or Hilaire?
I'm going Duke.
I'm going Duke as well. He got all the touches last week. I want the touches, baby. I want the touches. I don't love it. It could go either way. And that's another point that I want to make, right? Because every week somebody has to tag me in something, and you missed this. This player outscored this player.
Oh, did they really?
Do you have any idea? Like some weeks I just want to turn off my notifications. And I understand. I'm going to be wrong. I'm passionate about stuff, but I'm telling you what the best play is. If the best plays always scored the most points, you guys wouldn't need us to do a show on Sunday mornings, and you wouldn't have questions to ask. Dude, he messes up the chat every week. It makes it harder for me to find what I'm looking for. Brian says Judy or Pittman in a PPR must-win week. I'm going with Jerry Judy.
I agree.
Okay, this one's different. CEH or Marquise Brown for flex, 1 point PPR.
I'm gonna go with Marquise Brown.
I'm going the opposite. I'm going with CEH. When the question is so close like this, I always go with the running back. Like, I know that CH is going to get some touches, and I don't know what Marquise Brown's going to get every week, because this offense is just, it's not running like it did last year. They're definitely having a down year.
Yeah, you could resort to if you need a floor or ceiling with those two as well. Floor with CEH, and I'm going to go ceiling with Brown.
Brown just hasn't had a ceiling this year. And he's pissed about it. So when my
Oh,
wide
yeah.
receiver, you didn't see what he posted a couple
Yeah,
weeks
yeah,
ago.
I saw what he said.
Start
It
one.
was right after the game too.
Heinz, Peterson, Fournette. I know not the best options, but had Swift, and I'm going with Adrian Peterson here. He's the only one that I know is going to get touches. And these are Angelo. That is a real fantasy football question. Like most people don't have like start sit Dalvin Cook, CMC, and these are the real start sit questions that most people have. I wish our rosters were stacked from start to bottom all the time.
I think they asked this question earlier with Peterson and Heinz, and I went Heinz, so I'll stay consistent. I'll go Heinz.
Obviously, it's hindsight, but did I mess up playing Kirk over Justin Jefferson?
Yeah.
Yes, I played Justin Jefferson over Kirk every time. Kirk did have a good matchup though, and he didn't kill you. It's not the best,
right.
But you know what's funny? He said that Angelo wanted to know start one, Heinz, Peterson, or Fournette, and we went with Peterson and Heinz. Guess who Paul went with? The one that's absolutely not a start. Cracks me up. Chubb or Antonio Gibson, full PPR. This one's pretty easy for me.
Chubb.
Chub-a-lug. Antonio Gibson's been, he gets the volume, right? But we know what Chubb can do. Multiple TD upside. See, this is the difference. Everybody keeps talking like that. Somebody in the chat said, well, Damian Harris gets all the carries. Well, why is he any different than Chubb or Henry? But it's touchdown upside. And touchdown equity is what separates those guys. Chubb can rush for 130 and 2 touchdowns, where Damian Harris could run for 130, and that's all he gets. And the same thing goes for Antonio Gibson, right? He's been getting into the end zone more here recently, but Chubb's just got the TD upside that you want. I was hoping for a semi-real answer one of these weeks. Thanks. That was Craig about the IDP guys. I don't care. One, I don't care if I impress Paul at all. I'll just throw that out there.
No way.
Two, I never claimed to be an IDP guy, and I don't think that it matters if I am or I'm not. Robinson or Hilaire, and this is Robinson for me because he gets the touches.
Yep.
It's a bad matchup, Pittsburgh, but he gets the touches.
He'll touch the ball 25 times. Yeah.
Yep.
I don't even have to ask. I can just tell.
Oh, now he's backtracking on Fournette. He said that he thought he said sit one, not start one. Oh, we're caught up. That's what's up.
Nice.
That's what's up. Damn, dude.
48 minutes?
We've only been going for 48 minutes. Feels like we've been going for like an hour and a half, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Non-stop questions. Chow. He's back. He's here every Sunday morning. Need a replacement for Galladay. What waiver wire should I get? Jalen Reagor, Keelan Cole, Reynolds, Hamler, or Lazard?
I'm gonna go with Reagor, but I'm like monitor the field. I'm gonna go with Reagor. Those are some good waiver wire options.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with that. I'm going with Reagor. I don't love the weather. I might have to go. It's Reagor or Lazard. Those are the only two options that I'm going with out of that group. Lazard's probably the safer play. Reagor's the upside play, in my opinion.
Yeah. I can see that.
And it would easily be Reagor for me. But that weather in this game is what worries me for this week. And if you need somebody with Galladay out, then that's a little scary. So you can monitor that a little bit. I don't know what time your waiver runs this morning. It's probably noon, 11 or noon. But that weather is the scary bit for him. Let's see. So what's our bet this week? If you're taking Damian Harris for about anything, it's probably
I don't know. There's something out there. I don't know. I said Damian Harris does better than. I don't know. Nobody really. I thought we were going to get a lot more Damian Harris questions. We only had like a couple. I thought he'd be. I don't know. When I read this morning that Sony, when I read this morning Sony was coming back, I wasn't as high on it as I was yesterday or the day before.
Okay, Rob Kane with the donation says Goddard or Schultz, full PPR. Any teams to watch for the playoffs? So starting off, I'm going with Goddard.
I agree, yeah.
And then the reason why is, I mean, he got 7 targets. I think somebody in the chat said, until Goddard gets targeted. I mean, he's getting targeted. It's just tight end's a crapshoot in the NFL right now, unless you're Travis Kelce. That's the only guy from a week-to-week basis that we're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Literally anybody else could have a dud any given week. So it's wide open after that, and Goddard just is the most talented guy, and that's why I'm going with Goddard. Any teams to watch for the playoffs? I'm not sure exactly what you're asking here, Rob, but I appreciate the $5 donation. That's amazing. Hopefully we gave you a $10 answer. Did you have anything to add to that? And then Rob, drop in the chat what you meant by any teams to watch for the playoffs.
If you're asking which teams can be sneaky in the playoffs, I would have said the Cardinals, but at this point they're not sneaky anymore. I think the Dolphins can be sneaky if you're looking at teams that aren't projected to make it and could possibly get there. I like to say the Patriots, but I could be biased. But they're starting to look decent, and they'll see this week they can win this game, but next week's a real test against the Cardinals. But right now, like some sneaky teams in the playoffs to me are the Dolphins. Again, like I said, the Cardinals really.
I would have to.
The Cardinals aren't sneaky anymore.
Well, whoever comes out of the division, whether it's the Redskins, the Cowboys, the Eagles, the Giants, well, whoever it is going to be the sneaky team because nobody's going to expect them to win, right? So,
right.
From a sneaky perspective, I mean, those teams are so trash. Which I will say, Washington could be sneaky, right? If Washington wins this. Because they have a real defense. And
Alex Smith did not look bad last week.
And Alex Smith, and not only did he not look bad, but he's a seasoned vet, right? He's a guy that's going to make the smart decisions more often than the dumb ones, and that's something that can win you games in the playoffs too. Now none of those teams should even make the playoffs. They should eliminate that and get rid of them. But yeah. So he did clarify. I meant any players that have good matchups during the fantasy playoffs. I have a few Colts, Titans, and Dolphins. Yeah, the Titans I like their for their wide receivers. I like their matchups a lot. We talked about Corey Davis and A.J. Brown on the Tuesday night show as dynasty guys to buy that could help in the playoffs this year. Corey Davis more as the buy, but obviously we'll talk about those matchups. A.J. Brown came along with it. But yeah, I do like them. I haven't dug into a lot of that because I don't play redraft, so I don't pay attention to that as much. Because I'm not going to...
I know one team that has... Sorry, I know one team that has a lot of firepower and one of the easiest week 14, 15, 16s when it comes to defensive matchup, and it's the Buccaneers. They have the Vikings, then the Falcons, then the Lions in week 14, 15, 16. So Brady could be a really good fantasy playoff quarterback. Ronald Jones also could be extremely valuable as a playoff fantasy running back.
Barf. They've had a lot of talk about a schedule.
Yep. I just remember Sully mentioning it one day in our Wednesday podcast, and I kept note of that.
Thomas says half PPR, pick one: CeeDee Lamb, JT, Henderson, or Curtis Samuel.
I'm going with CeeDee Lamb.
I'm going with CeeDee Lamb as well.
Samuel would be second. Do you agree?
CeeDee, Samuel, JT, Henderson is how I would rank them.
Yep.
We have the same issue in LA as we have in Indy, right? We don't know who's going to get the touches week to week. I do want to make an announcement. RotoHeat is now sponsored and partnered. I can't
Down.
down.
There you go. There you
With
go.
Raise Energy from Rep Sports. If you would like to try out Raise Energy, you can get 15% off using the keyword Heat Seekers at repsports.com. 15% off. Listen, we've had this partnership for what has it been? Almost a month. But I had to order the,
Yeah.
I had to really get into the product and make sure that I liked it before I started pushing it. You guys know me. I'm a big Bang fan. I love the flavors from Raise so far, but creatine has always kind of messed my stomach up. And, some people like creatine, some people don't. You can always add creatine to a drink. You can't take it out when it comes prepackaged. So Raise does not have that creatine in it. So the switch up has done wonders for my stomach. Flavors have been great. Haven't had one that I hated. I haven't had that Miami Cola that I just can't stand. So finally ready to let everybody know about it. But code Heat Seekers gets you 15% off and helps support the stream and website. Pick two: Gurley, Gibson, or CEH.
I'm going Gurley and Gibson.
Gurley and Gibson for me as well. Somebody yelled Raiders at us in the chat. I don't know who that was on Facebook.
We didn't even have a single Raider player to debate.
Yeah,
You know that? Not one person back to one.
It was just like a random Raiders.
That sounds like their fan base, to be honest.
Bucks have some good matchups for their playoffs. Their DST is looking insane for week 14 and 16. I picked up some Alex Smith in a few leagues too. I just acquired Alex Smith in a Superflex right before the show went live.
For a third rounder.
For a third round pick. I have no picks rounds 1 through 3 next year. But my team's stacked.
You were looking for picks, and now they're all
Dude, well, when you start 0-6, that's like our boy Randy Miles in that league said, dude, I tried trading you Mixon, but you said you don't acquire running backs. And I said, I was 0-6. I wasn't acquiring running backs when I'm 0-6. Now, 4-6 and one game out of the playoffs with 3 weeks to go.
right.
I'll acquire anybody that helps my team, especially in a $250 buy-in. I would love to win that. That's what I got. I was saying Raiders for sneaky team. Oh, I forgot we were talking about that. Then all of a sudden, I just have somebody yelling Raiders at me. What's their schedule like? I don't even know the Raiders' schedule for the playoff weeks. Raiders schedule.
He might be saying Raiders for the real playoffs too. I know the Raiders play the Chiefs today, I believe, right?
Their fantasy schedule's not good for the playoffs. Playoffs, because they play
that.
Colts, and then Chargers is fine. in week 15, but then week 16 is the Dolphins, whose defense is good. So they don't really have a good fantasy schedule, but yeah, sneaky. Cars played pretty solid football this year. Sneaky team in the playoffs, he said. Yeah. Wide receiver and flex needed. I have Shark, Myers, Mike Davis, Landry, or Parker PPR. Wide receiver.
You see how many of them?
Wide receiver and flex. So the wide receivers are Shark, Myers, Landry, Parker.
I'm putting Myers in as one of them.
That's a homer pick. Shark's got to be the guy here.
I think it's Shark and Myers, to be honest.
And then I still think Parker's ahead of Myers. Landry gets the same target share. But the weather, Cleveland weather, right? The last game with normal weather, Landry had 44% of the market share for Cleveland. But you can't put him in there with this weather with these other guys. I'm going Shark and Mike Davis. Mike Davis has had some duds, but he gets Detroit, and Detroit's run defense is the.
Oh, I'm sorry. I did not hear Mike Davis. I will.
Well, that's because I only told you the wide receivers with Shark. With Shark, Myers, Landry, Parker, we had to pick one of those, and then it was the remaining plus Mike Davis for the flex. Mike Davis is in my flex out of them, and then Shark's my starter.
Agreed.
Burrow without Mixon or Deshaun?
I'm going with Burrow.
I'm going Deshaun. The dude, literally, outside of one weather game, has put up like 25 points per game since O'Brien left. O'Brien is the cure-all. It's like if Gase left. Nope, they don't have the talent like that in New York. So
not
it's
yet.
Not like if Gase
New
left.
York,
but
is close. New York is gonna be like the Dolphins. I think if they get rid of Gase, they could be a good team within the next couple of years with all their draft capital and
within a couple of years,
and their budget. Yeah.
Jaws Whedon says Seahawks and Cleveland D have a nice playoff schedule. Yep, I'll take your word for that. I don't play any DST. You can't play Seahawks DST regardless of who they are playing. I don't think that's true. Listen,
I don't either.
Here's the thing: people always
they did pretty good.
For one, with Adams back, they are getting better in the secondary, right? But here's the thing: people want defenses that don't give up points. That's not what you want. You want defenses that get pressure. Guess what Seahawks starting to do? They're starting to get more pressure than they did earlier in the season. And you want teams that get thrown on a lot because that is where turnovers come from. So I don't think – I mean, DST is always a toss-up anyway from week to week. But I want a team that's going to get – I don't want a team that's just going to be stopping the run the entire game because unless they fumble, you're not going to get any turnovers. That's where the big points come from. I don't care if a team gives up points as long as if they're forcing some turnovers. And Seahawks seem to be going more down that route here of late. But, I mean, they'll give up a bunch of yards receiving for sure. Paul saying random shit in the chat. Well, whoever was on Facebook says thanks. You guys are awesome. We appreciate it. Darson Patel, he's been showing up every Sunday morning for a while now. We appreciate it. Thanks for coming back. He says Ahmed or Jefferson. I'm going with Jefferson here, though I do like Ahmed. I do like Ahmed this week, but not over Jefferson. Home Slice on YouTube says Tim Patrick, CD Lamb, or Damian Harris PPR flex spot. The answer is not Damian Harris.
CD Lamb.
CD Lamb.
He did make sure I didn't answer that one wrong. Huh?
I had to. I've been winning these debates that we've got in on Sunday morning, though. I do want to say that.
What was the other one? just
Last
know the
week
Chase Edmonds
I
one.
told you cannot start Leonard Fournette over Ronald Jones.
Oh.
Yes.
No, I didn't say
Yes.
over.
Yes. We can go back and watch it. It is on our stream.
You know, it's funny because it got set up perfectly for that you could.
I know.
And then they just kept giving.
I know.
I'm like.
But it's funny because we actually
perfect.
talked about how it was weird that I was actually taking the Ronald Jones side of things. We didn't make a bet on it though. It was just a debate that we had on the show.
Yeah. I wouldn't.
Okay, so Facebook user said Golston or Cox, 1 point for every half tackle, 1.5 points for every half sack. I don't have an answer for you. Sorry. Nino Rodriguez says Cousins or Carr. This is a real question right here. Nino Rodriguez is my hero.
I'm going.
You're going Cousins?
Yeah. What does Big Matt say? What does Matt Clayton say?
Start everybody versus Dallas.
You start anybody playing Dallas.
Yeah. Talk about. I'm going Cousins as well. Whoever that was on Facebook. I think it's Joe. I think it's Joe Lindsay. If
I can make sure.
Because that's probably the league we're in. It has IDP, but.
You're in an IDP league and you don't know anything about it?
I don't know. I know about my players and who I should start every week. I treat it like a redraft when I'm filling out my roster at the beginning of the season. On the defensive side, because it's a keeper. It's not a full dynasty. So.
I went to Rep Sports website and I load up Facebook real quick, and the second post is it.
So for those that don't know, I'm the guy that makes that shit happen on your Facebook. That's what I do on my day-to-day. Obviously, I don't make a living off of YouTube videos for fantasy football. Yeah.
This is crazy.
I'm the asshole that sends you ads after you go to a website.
Is Phantom Freeze pretty good?
That is the one I'm drinking right now, and it might be my favorite. A couple of them I've only had once, so I gotta try more. But I've tried. Okay, the sour gummy worms is better than Sour Heads from Bang. I just tried.
Okay. I didn't like Sour Heads.
It's not as like sweet and tart and sour. Which I always liked. I did like Sour Heads. But I've tried the watermelon frost or strawberry colada, watermelon frost.
Colada.
The strawberry colada was really good. The watermelon frost was okay. I've tried.
What's the coupon code again?
Heat
Seekers. All caps?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Paul, the IDP question was Golston or Cox. 1 point for every half tackle, 1.5 for every half sack. Here's one for you. Matt Ryan or Joe Burrow?
Oh man. Both had bad matchups. I'm going Matt Ryan.
I'm going Matt Ryan as well. I'm going Matt Ryan as well. Grape was grape. I mean, it was
got to keep some things normal.
Pretty self-explanatory, but I've had some grape that's like not good of different stuff. But that one was fine. Let's see what other flavors were there. Oh, mango. What was it? Mango guava was good.
Be something Delilah likes. I don't like mango, but she does.
Somebody on Facebook says, "Hey, Bryce, is the sun out?"
What does that mean?
Sun's out, guns out.
Oh, I got you.
Is it snowing there?
It was projected to get some snow, but I don't think it's quite cold enough.
I woke up to white everywhere and said, "F my
Oh,
life.
really?
What the is this shit?" Not happy about it, but it's here. So what do you do?
Let's see here.
Hey, Bryce, is the sun out? Put on some clothes for next week's stream, all right?
This is my everyday attire. Fancy. Let's see here. Can't see which one it is here. This is the DFS one. Probably the Dynasty Chat. I'm gonna order a case of the old the Phantom Freeze.
The Phantom Freeze. That's a white one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
When you're drinking, you said.
that was. No,
What
I'm
was your
drinking
Barrett?
Galaxy Burst.
Oh.
The Phantom Freeze was
Which,
probably. I mean, it's just like a regular flavor. It wasn't bad, but it was probably my least favorite out of the ones that I've had so far. Which means you'll probably like it.
It's probably my
It's probably
favorite.
your favorite.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll just get a variety pack.
See, that's what I did to start. There's two different variety packs. They're a little more expensive, obviously, because I gotta sort them and whatnot. But I just bought both variety packs.
Oh, it's Matt Clayton.
Oh, Matt Clayton.
He's the one that said
Dude,
turns out.
Bryce, we should take a road trip to Texas.
He's got to cook. He's got to cook for us.
Yeah, he will. I know he will. Clayton, if Bryce and I take a road trip to Texas, will you cook for us? You're gonna have some time off in the winter for construction, right?
It just depends. We'll find ways to get inside. We're about to throw up a pole barn next week, I believe. So probably inside wiring, all that, and doing everything inside. We find ways to keep busy.
Teddy Bridgewater, if he plays, or Joe Flacco?
Teddy Bridgewater. If he
Teddy
plays.
Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater. Man, we might get done early today. Now it's just RotoHeat guys talking in the chat. We're getting to that point of the year where everything drops off a little bit. People are disengaged with their fantasy teams because they've either been wrecked or just their free leagues and they forgot about them.
So it looks like the one's got Sour Gummy Worms, Apollo, Phantom Freeze, and Galaxy Bird. Which one do you like better? That variety pack or the...
That was Phantom Freeze, Galaxy Burst. What was in it?
Sour Gummy Worm and Apollo.
I have not tried Apollo yet. I'm going to try that today. That's the only one that I have not tried out of the two variety packs. Galaxy Burst, like I said, that's one I'm drinking now. Is probably my favorite. And I like the Sour Gummy Worms. So I would probably go with that one. The other one's going to have watermelon, frost, strawberry colada, grape, and...
I can't even see now. The mango one?
Mango, guava, yep. So probably the other one for you.
Yep. That's what I'm doing.
I like it. I like it. Do I start Taysom Hill in the tight end? The answer is yes. Absolutely. Taysom Hill is tight end 1 of the week. If so, do I play Darren Waller, Mike Williams, Parker, or Lamb in the flex?
Well,
Mike Williams, or Parker?
Lamb.
I'm going Lamb. I'm playing Hill and Lamb. I skipped one. Robert King on YouTube said PPR, Myers, Cup, or Godwin, pick 2. Cup and Godwin.
Cup and Godwin.
And Harris, Gio, Zeke, or Robinson, pick 2.
Zeke.
Zeke and
And-
Gio.
I'm going Zeke and Robinson.
Zeke and Robinson. Zeke and... Shit.
Zeke and Harris now.
No,
Get through all of them.
Harris is odd man out here. PPR, he said.
Gio and the Robinsons do not have good matchups, so I'm just going to go with the guy that's been more that I know will. They're both going to get a lot.
Gio's got 20-plus points in 2 of the 3 games that Mixon has been out. Gio's been good.
He has been good, but
I'm going Zeke and Gio, and I might go with Robinson and Gio. I might flip a coin on every one of these guys and figure it out.
I've not mentioned Zeke.
Zeke has not. You're talking about being consistent. Zeke has been consistently bad since that guy hurt.
I know, but this is a good matchup for him, though. I'm definitely going Zeke.
I'm going Zeke.
You got a stud.
Yeah, but Zeke is a Zeke. I don't know that he's a stud with a bad offensive line without Dak. That's what I don't know. I know Gio's not a stud, but I know he's consistent. He always has been, right? I mean, it feels like it's been like 10 years that Gio, when given opportunities, has just been like a consistent producer for the Bengals. 1 PPR, Disley or Brait. Well, Disley played Thursday, so you shouldn't be able to use him. So Brait is the answer this week. Need 2 in a standard league. Zeke, Rojo, Duke, Harris, or Balaj. Need 2.
Zeke and Duke.
Zeke and Ronald Jones. Duke's 4th on this list for me because I have Balaj ahead of him with that matchup with the Jets.
I hope Duke does terrible. Plays the Patriots. But
that doesn't mean terrible. See, that's what you start this shit, and then people watching start that shit. That doesn't mean Duke's a horrible play.
No, I think he's a great play. I hope he does terrible because he's playing against my favorite team.
Woods or Jefferson at wide receiver?
I want Jefferson. Jefferson's a great talent, and he's got a soft
I'm going with Jefferson as well. Craig says, Rick, visit Wisconsin. You can stay with Paul, and I'll come visit. I'll get a hotel room. Thank you. Trey S says, full PPR. Choose 2. Deontay Johnson, Brandon Cooks, Robert Woods, Gio, or Gurley. Full PPR. Pick 2 out of all of those. Deontay Johnson's in. Probably going Deontay Johnson and Brandon Cooks here. Gurley would be in the question. He just finds the end zone, right? Like, Gurley's always just found the end zone. But I think I'm going Deontay Johnson and Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks has been getting just massive targets.
Yeah, I agree.
Deontay Johnson, Brandon Cooks. Slant Boy or Cooper?
Who? Slant Boy.
Slant Boy. Who's Slant Boy?
A new player?
I have so many things. I want to say, but I'll get canceled. Cancel culture. I don't know if enough people are paying attention to get me canceled, but
If you get taken off, then they'll find it all the way back and.
Right when I'm taking Matthew Berry's spot, like right after my first episode, somebody will bring it up. They'll wait till right after that first episode airs, and then they'll post it. Can't make jokes no more. Michael Thomas. I kind of thought he might be talking about Michael Thomas. It's Michael Thomas every time.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so I'll just tell everybody this. When it comes to wide receivers, start-sit questions, if Michael Thomas is included, the only guys that I would start over Michael Thomas are Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins, boom. That's it.
I was going to say, there is no more.
Wait, what day is it? What day is what? Today's Sunday. Oh, that must be the person asking about Disley or Brait. Wait, am I in the right week?
What day?
Am I in the right week? Seattle played Thursday, right? Yeah.
You're correct.
Okay.
I think I would have caught that one.
Balaj or Heinz? I'm going with Balaj. I know people are going to say Heinz, but I'm going with Balaj. You're going with Heinz, aren't you? I knew you were going to go with Heinz.
I think with the reports and the way this game, I think it's going to go. Heinz is in for a decent week, 15 to 20.
I mean, Balaj has been getting 15 a week already, and now they're saying they're going to give him all the touches. So,
When's Austin Eckler coming back?
Do we have a Balaj and Heinz take here? Do we have a bet?
We could do that. Yeah,
we want to do that. So we're talking just PPR, Balaj versus Heinz. Yep. Whoever has the better week in PPR, $5. Our friendly weekly bet. I got Balaj, which is crazy, right? All the shit I've ever talked about Caleb Balaj. And now I'm putting money on him. Last week we could have between Ronald Jones and Fournette.
I don't know if I would have, just because.
Dude, you were saying this was the week that Fournette was taking the job, and you were adamant about Fournette last week.
It was a perfect situation for me to be right, and then they just Bruce Arians like, no, thank you.
Oh man. Okay, so there it is. Balaj versus Heinz. I like it. Bill says half point. DJ Moore, Antonio Brown, Mike Williams, CeeDee Lamb. Pick one. Thanks, guys. DJ Moore for me.
Yes,
DJ
sir.
Moore.
Hey, that was the guy we were on last week, and he performed.
Yep.
Yep.
DJ Moore for me. Blue Crew says 0.5 PPR starting Thielen. I have T. Higgins at wide receiver, Kamara and Zeke at running back, Claypool at flex, sitting out Godwin, Kupp, McKissick. Your thoughts? I'm starting Godwin and Kupp over Higgins. But that would be my only thing. And I'd probably go Godwin over Kupp, but that's close. But Higgins would be my fourth wide receiver. I might start Godwin and Kupp over Thielen and Higgins.
I'm not benching Thielen today. No way, Jose. I think your lineup's fine, but I think you could interchange Higgins with either of those guys you're benching, and I would say the same thing.
Yeah, so. McKissick's definitely not in the question.
Your team's so stacked, you can just go for floor play there.
Oh no, I would just start Thielen, Godwin, and Kupp instead of Higgins and Claypool. That's what I would do.
I would definitely take Claypool out and put in one of those other guys, but I have no problem starting Higgins anymore. I say every week that
if you have
he's decent.
I don't get the difference between Claypool and Higgins. Like Claypool is getting 10 targets a week too.
Yeah, I mean, I just think they both got talent around him. I think Claypool's the best on his team too, but there's way more of a share.
Here's my thing is with Godwin and Kupp, right? They've got the experience where they can, like, no matter what happens, they can still produce. And when it's close like that, I'm going to go with the veteran until we see some adversity, right? What happens when T. Higgins somebody's going to stop T. Higgins at some point. Somebody's going to stop Claypool. Well, we've seen Claypool get stopped one week this year after he blew up, and then teams are giving him number one receiver respect by playing their top corner on him. But I'm more comfortable with Godwin and Kupp, so I would start Thielen, Godwin, Kupp. It seems that Higgins and Claypool are for real, but I think this is a little bit of rookie fever getting thrown in there, and we're overthinking it a little bit. I still can't fathom how Balaj is a thing again. I agree. I'm not a Balaj fan. He's getting the touches, and he's producing. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. We've had Alex Collins a thing this year. We've had Balaj a thing this year. We've had Salvin Ahmed and Myles Gaskin producing at running back. A lot of people never heard of either of them, especially in redraft leagues. A lot of those owners didn't. We've had James Robinson come out and be top 5 running back. The top 2 running backs out of this rookie class that had Cam Akers, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor, is James Robinson and Antonio Gibson are the top 2 running backs. They're the guys getting the action out of all of those running backs. It's weird. It's 2020 in a nutshell, right? Do you think CMC is going to return this season? I know his injury projects him to be back, but I don't know if the Panthers are going to play him or shut him down. Okay, so this is what I think is going to happen with CMC. When he came back the last game, they said, we're going to alternate him and Mike Davis series. And then they didn't do that, and CMC got all the work again, put up 37 points, and then got re-injured. I think he comes back, but I think they actually do split the time between the two for the remainder of the season. We talked about this last offseason, not to toot my own horn, but there is something about getting 400 touches like he did last year that will break down a body. And, you know, the average games missed the following season by a running back after getting 400 touches is 2. And there's been like 10% of them, they didn't miss any games, but their production dropped by like 50% in a whole in their efficiency, which he's still been efficient, but just hasn't been able to stay on the field this year. It's a real thing. And, you know, we're going to see some other guys. I don't know if that anybody's on pace for 400 touches this year.
There's no way. So
we're probably not going to see that again. This will be the first season since I started covering fantasy football that we haven't had one. But yeah, it's crazy. Need to drop one of these guys to pick up a tight end. Ingram, Fournette, or Marvin Jones. Marvin Jones should be in your lineup this week, most likely, with Galladay out. So I'm not dropping him. I'm not dropping Ingram if you're hurting at tight end. It's probably just because he's out. The Fournette's got to be the guy, I think. But It sucks. Like, I hate doing that because if Ronald Jones gets hurt, Fournette's the guy, right? And that's always a possibility. I guess if you're never starting Marvin Jones, you can drop him. But your wide receivers have to be stacked, I think. Mike Williams or Jacoby Myers?
Jacoby Myers.
Myers for floor, Mike Williams for ceiling. I would look at that matchup and see. Mike Williams, this could be a week where Mike Williams gets 2 40-yard touchdowns. He's got massive upside in this game. And he is getting 5-6 targets a week, so that's not bad. But Jacoby Myers, over the last 3 weeks, has like the 3rd most opportunity at wide receiver amongst all wide receivers. Can't be argued. Unless you have a lawyer in your group chat that can argue anything, Craig. Yeah, Myers is just getting too much work. Got to play it. Gibson or McKissick? Gibson for the touchdown upside.
Yeah.
My man Bryce has jumped on. What'd you jump on?
I jumped on
Trampoline?
I'm sure some bandwagon. Was it a Facebook?
Oh, it might be Matt Clayton saying, you jumped on the play,
probably.
everybody
The
versus
motto.
Dallas.
Yeah, he said my motto. I see it.
That's what I seen after that. He never answered. Matt Clayton never answered. We talked about coming to Texas, and you never said you were going to cook for us, so I'm pretty upset about that. Think back over your fantasy football year. Best, worst pickup so far. My best play of the 2020 season is not spending any draft capital on Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I have 0 shares. He was so expensive. I tried telling everybody not to, pay those crazy prices for a guy that was the 9th rookie before he got drafted by Kansas City. I'm extremely happy. That's my favorite part of 2020. And then I had literally Chase Claypool everywhere. So that's worked out pretty well.
Mine would be selling Saquon for Jonathan Taylor in a second. That's my worst. After he got hurt, and then my best would be probably so far it's still out there. But I bought Jacoby Myers in a lot of leagues in the off-season drafts.
I wish I would have listened to you more on Jacoby Myers. I do. I did just buy him for a second rounder this week in one league.
Pay that easily.
But yeah, I wish I would have got him a lot earlier. Bridgewater is active. Thank you, Paul, for throwing that in there.
Thank you. I need that. Make sure my lineup.
Aiden says McKissick over Zeke. He's getting 15 targets a game, and the Vikings have been top 3 against the run last 3 weeks. I'm not starting McKissick over Zeke. You can look at that all you want. I'm not doing it at all. Godwin going to have Ramsey because Ramsey too short to handle Evans. I'm not sure what all this is in regards to.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I can say. Okay. Ramsey can shut anybody down. I'm not, not gonna disregard that.
Evans is so bad against corners that talk. You ever notice that? They get in his head so easily.
Yeah.
I guess there might be a fight in that game.
Let's see. Josh Whedon says, my best pickups are Gaskin and hopefully Jacoby Myers. With Fant banged up, do you consider Higbee or Tanyan? Colts are one of the best at guarding the tight end. With Lazard back, I think Tanyan takes another little hit. I would go Higbee if you don't start Fant. I'm probably playing Fant though.
I'm playing Fant.
Do what?
It was that bad. I said he's
right.
very likely to play, and if it was that bad, I don't think he'd be playing.
Titans, Adam Humphries is inactive. More CD and AGB looks. AJB. I said G. You know what? Another one of my just Corey Davis has always been one of my favorite players. He was a guy that I really liked in that rookie class, and I'm just happy to see him playing better this year. So that's another part of fantasy that I really like, is that he's at least a serviceable asset that you can throw in your lineup and not feel too bad about. And the great part now is that, like, in a lot of spots that I have Corey Davis, he's like my wide receiver 5 or 6, which is awesome. So that is another thing that makes me happy. Garrett Yonkers, a standard league, pick 2, CEH, Gio Bernard, or Justin Jefferson. This is a standard league question. Gio's in there for me. in a standard league because he's going to get all the carries. And then I probably go Justin Jefferson for upside. CH is only getting 6 to 8 carries a game, and that's just not going to do it for me.
I agree.
Gibson or Jefferson in my flex, 0.5 PPR, thanks. This one's a little bit harder, right? Gibson's going to get freaking 18 carries. I think I go with Gibson for floor and Jefferson for upside if you feel like you got a lot to pick up. And a 0.5 PPR, right? Jefferson's losing a bit there. He might lose 4 points because of having 8 receptions. Marshawn Lattimore is inactive. That's better for Julio. What about Calvin Ridley? Paul, can you give us info on Calvin Ridley in that game?
I can't. I have to freaking monitor him like crazy as well.
Jacoby or Curtis Samuel? I got to go with Jacoby here, Jazz.
Yep.
I love Curtis Samuel this week, but Jacoby, just the amount of opportunity cannot be ignored for Myers.
Calvin Ridley is cleared to play.
Calvin Ridley playing nice. I like it.
That's tonight?
Myers?
Today or tonight?
Myers or
No,
Woods?
no, I'm talking about the Calvin Ridley. Oh. Ooh.
Ridley on Wednesday was still questionable. I was reading articles on it on Wednesday.
He was cleared yesterday, and actually 2 days ago he was off the injury report. So Wednesday he was probably on.
Wednesday he was, yeah. I don't check all that. I normally don't even check that stuff until like Saturdays when I'm looking at DFS stuff because a lot of it never matters. But Wednesday was the last day I was looking at that stuff, which makes sense. I was just asking because last time I had looked, Ridley was not in. Sims or Sims, better Dino stash. I like Cam Sims.
Wait, we didn't answer Myers or Woods.
I'm going Woods there.
Yeah. I want to put in Myers, but I think you still got to
Myers could outscore Woods here and end up being the better play, but I think if we're sticking to process, I think Woods has to be the pick. Going in, he did have a designation going into this week. That designation ended on Thursday, apparently. Wait. ESPN is saying that Bridgewater is activated but not going to play.
What?
That's weird. We'll have to keep an eye on that. We'll dig in. I'll check Twitter in a second. But Joz Wheaton said Sims or Sims, better Dino stash. I like Cam Sims and not Steve Sims, right? That's the two that he's talking about for Washington?
Yeah.
I like Cam.
I'm reading something by Fantasy Shark that says is officially active and will play.
Full PPR flex. Marvin Jones, Jarvis Landry, DJ Moore, or Jerry Jeudy. DJ Moore. DJ Moore. Jarvis, I want to play Jarvis so bad, but these freaking weather Cleveland games have been attracting the worst weather for 3 straight weeks now. Sony Michel inactive. So that goes back. The Damian Harris takes that we had at the beginning of the show can stand because Michel's inactive. That definitely means Harris gets the carries, right? We don't have to worry about Sony snagging 8 to 10 of them. Makes that a lot easier. Yes, update. Bridgewater is the backup. It's the PJ Walker show.
Who said that?
Paul said that.
Where's he reading?
I'm going to Twitter right now. Why is Gio Bernard? Why is Gio Bernard trending?
I should need to get a Twitter.
Teddy Bridgewater latest. Now I'm seeing 2 seconds ago that Teddy Bridgewater is inactive.
I'm sure we'll get more clear in the next half hour to 45 minutes.
Yeah, people on Twitter are saying we're trying to figure out if Teddy Bridgewater is actually active or inactive. So this is up in the air right now. See, this person's like with Bridgewater ruled out. Do I start Robbie Anderson or Judy Murray? Yeah, so Panthers QB Teddy Bridgewater will be their emergency backup QB today. Another plot twist. Teddy Bridgewater is active as the emergency QB.
Adam Scheffner just tweeted, after initially saying Teddy Bridgewater would be active, the Panthers decided to deactivate him 6 minutes ago.
Okay, PJ Walker's show, right? And that's, if you're a DFS player, that's some great leverage on DraftKings off of Taysom Hill, right? Who are you more comfortable with? Taysom Hill's at like 20% owned, and PJ Walker is less known, is probably going to be lower owned. That could be some great leverage off of Taysom Hill.
Fulgham or DeMarcus Robinson?
DeMarcus Robinson for me. Best quarterback, best offense. Sammy Watkins is out. Robinson gets targets when Watkins is out. Not that Fulgham's bad, but I'll just take the guy in the offense without the rain and with the 8 touchdown upside. Literally, we seen the other day, right? I think 3 of them had 3 wide receivers and their tight end all scored over 18 fantasy points 2 weeks ago. Stupid.
That's my dilemma for Bridgewater being out.
Somebody just informed us that Mixon got placed on IR. Definitely saw that part. Because I have so much Mixon that I had like 18 notifications when that happened. C. Chav says Jonathan Taylor, T.Y. Hilton, Pittman, or Michelle for flex. Well, we found out Michelle's inactive. We've found out T.Y. Hilton is old and no good anymore. Pittman's got Zaire Alexander, but Jonathan Taylor, we don't know if he's going to get touches. I'd probably go with Jonathan Taylor here. I could see going Pittman. It would be between those two. Maybe I lean slightly Pittman here.
That's what I'm thinking. I'd start Pittman over. I don't want to.
I just keep seeing Jonathan Taylor actually running well against Packers defense that's
I'm
horrible.
starting her in my league.
Oh, he's saying that's why Gio's trending. Yeah, that was yesterday. I was just wondering if I missed anything today. I popped that up, and then our boy Addison Hayes from that's on a bunch of the shows in the offseason with us says, I can't wait to see all my fantasy rosters that enter the playoffs with Gio Bernard and Kalen Ballage as the running backs. Who would have saw that coming? Somebody else says, I love fantasy football. Do research for months leading up to the season, only to be starting Gio Bernard and Kalen Ballage in a must-win, and being upset that I don't have Wayne Gallman. Sign me up for 2021 fantasy football. That is so true, man. I always say, what do I say all the time, Bryce? If only we knew half of what we think we know.
Oh, literally, yeah. To be rich.
Be rich, rich, rich. All right. Fellas, looks like that's all the questions we've had. We've answered every one, I hope. If we missed one, I apologize. Tag us in Discord, Facebook, wherever, and we will get those. I got to go get my lineups done. So we're going to call that a day. Enjoyed spending Sunday morning with you guys. Good luck in fantasy this week. If you're playing DFS, I hope you hit big. Cocaine and Waffles has a question before we go. This will be the last one. Full PPR. Melvin Gordon or Jamison Crowder for the flex. I'm going with Jamison Crowder.
I agree.
He is the cocaine. Gordon would be the waffles of this question. And you always go with cocaine over waffles.
Jeez. There's your cancel culture right there.
No, they're not going to cancel me for drugs, man.
They're about to be all
Iron
legal.
Man. You know how many times Iron Man was in trouble for coke? A lot. But that was probably before you were born.
True. Robert Downey Jr.? Yeah, he's probably getting out of rehab on one.
Waffles. All right, we're out of here on that. Cocaine